it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Welcome everybody, I'm RJ of The Nerdy Brew, and here on this channel we talk TV, movies, and everything in between, all while drinking a cup of coffee. Now if you like one of those things or all of those things, why don't you consider subscribing and hit that notification bell and becoming a fellow Brewster. So today, fellow Brewster, on the other side of the camera, hopefully you're enjoying your coffee too. We are having a coffee talk about Cowboy Bebop live action Netflix series. Now, the news just dropped over the weekend, as you can tell from the intro, that it got canceled after a week, 3 weeks. It was pretty early on its cancellation. It didn't get enough buzz, but there was a lot of controversy before the show even ending. There was people who had problems with John Cho's age, right? They didn't know if he could pull off his martial arts performances. I didn't know anything about people's criticism about Mustafa being playing Jet Black, so I don't know anything about that. But there was also some SJW or lack of narrative in between, people having a problem with Faye and the actress. I'm not too versed on it, but I know that she brought up some controversy in her saying her comments. But with all that being out the way, for myself, I took the show as it is. I didn't get involved in none of the minutia or the fluff of what the show or the publicity about the show. I'm actually just a fan of Spike Spiegel and Cowboy Bebop and the world that it was in the anime for itself. And now that I got you here, we're gonna have this time for coffee and a time to spill. So my history, give me 1 second please. This is what the channel is for. So for my history at Cowboy Bebop, it started out, I don't know how long ago was it? Probably in 2000 earlys, right? Early 2000s, before it became any teens. And I was not old enough to watch Adult Swim. Then they had Adult Swim, All Kids Out of the Pool.
All kids out of the pool for Adult Swim.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this way.
And I would stay up late. I forgot what day that it would come on. But my mom would put me to bed, but I would sneak around, watching the steps, trying not to make any creaks up in the place. Watch what step I'll go down so I could deliberately watch Cowboy Bebop. And my mom used to go to this jazz fest that was pretty big in the city every year. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the jazz that was there. The atmosphere was too grown. It wasn't fun. It was hot out. I hated it there. But I got older, but I wasn't old enough. But there was Cowboy Bebop. And with Cowboy Bebop, the jazz and the music in there, I was like, wait a minute. This is what jazz can be? So that had me go down my own rabbit hole of experiencing jazz outside of that jazz fest and knowing what kind of genre it is. In the space western aesthetic of the show, reminiscent to it Trigun Outlaw Star, it was just able to mold that western style along with New Orleans jazz and Spike having his own compelling story. And I like that the episodes are isolated within the anime itself. The main story of Spike Spiegel and his history is only 5 episodes throughout the whole entire run. And they are impactful and they're meaningful, but they're not the majority. And so it's just really character building, world building involved with the show. And with that, they have 2 episodes on the first half and the later half of Jet Black. And his episodes that are centered on him and his past, they're done well. And I love that they incorporated that, or his episode. They skipped out one half, and I'm not gonna do that because maybe there's hope for a second season. But since that's out of the way, they did the whole thing about his partner and just that whole life before he became a bounty hunter. And for me, when it comes to the live action version of the show, I absolutely loved how they made him, or more of the characters. I'm gonna get to that, but I like that he had the family dynamic. I like that there was his partner, or the man on the police force, who did betray him in a major manner of speaking, of sleeping with his woman or with his wife. But it's the fact that he wasn't against him, and they were all together in the fact that Jet had a child, which wasn't in the anime series. So I think that was a cool addition to the live action series, to have him have heart and nuance, because he is more of a support to Spike inside the anime series, where he's a tag along, but they gave him more of characterization to be brought out as his own personalization of a character in all in itself. So I enjoyed that aspect. I love that they just took liberties to make it its own show. And I said this to my friend Matt. I said to him that the spirit of the anime possessed the live action show. So for them to pay attention to the original source material, and then I just feel like how they brought it over, but they were still trying to craft their own story and their own art. I feel like it expanded on that quite well. With them expanding the story, I definitely enjoyed how they brought out more because we knew that there was a camaraderie and a bond and a brotherhood between Vicious and Spike. And I love that they had that one ancillary episode that was a flashback episode that did bring out what their past was in their bond. And I also liked how it went into the inner workings of the syndicate. And I like that everything moved around, because Vicious in his conquest of taking over the syndicate is super early within the original series, probably episode 3 or 4. And I just like that they allowed it or widened it out to make it a part of the full season. I did not like, I feel so that they incorporated the crazy man, how they changed out how he hated cats. It was an assassin. And I hated how they changed it out, but it made sense for them to incorporate Ein. And it just weaved in well. They did change Faye's story from when she woke up with the con artist, and from her backstory and being in the 90s. And I just felt like the adaptation from animation to live action of Faye's story, about her finding out about her past and who's involved in her past and how they brought that in, I thought that was done really well. And I didn't like Faye in the show. Never liked Faye. How Spike felt about Faye is how I felt about Faye. Felt like she was an annoyance. I felt like she was just dead weight. But for this, I felt like she was likable. I felt like she conveyed what the character was. Someone who was broken with amnesia, but who knew how to maneuver in that world. And I felt like the characterization of it was done well. The guy, Mustafa, playing Jet Black. What I love with him playing Jet Black is like he went all in. I loved how he got the characterization of getting his cadence, getting his tone, getting his mannerisms. Oh, and another thing is I love the dynamic and the relationship between all 3 of these people. I really did. I really felt like it was the spirit of the crew. Or the Bebop crew, and I also felt that their performances and the writing just showed that these people, like the creative backgrounds, cared enough to add that touch of bringing humanity to these fictional cartoon characters that are actually, I love the dynamic between Jet and Spike within the anime, but it just seemed like they really a good care within them. So the show was done really well. The twist with Julia at the end, that was just different. I wasn't necessarily hurt by it, taken back, but it was just different. It was like, so it carved out its own lane for what season 2 could have been. This is what I say. I didn't like the actor's portrayal of Vicious. Vicious is cool, collected. He's not very bombastic or emotional or unhinged when it comes to his mannerisms or his disposition. And he's very much, lives up to his name. His name is Vicious, right? But what I'm saying is, like, this dude was like on the brink of just screaming every 30 seconds. And I just felt like that wasn't a good characterization. And I also felt like when he got the assassin dude who was crazy and who could fly and needed limbs and stuff, that was kind of out of character for Vicious too, because it was like Vicious was ready to kill Spike in the first place. I love that it took visual cues from the original anime and tried to incorporate it within the live action to pay homage. I love some of the twists that they did just to make it different. I love the stakes. And there was the episode of Spike reliving the dream or reliving thoughts in his mind. I think that was a really solid episode. I was like, when the promotion was going on, I was like, where is Ed? Where's Ed? Where's Ed? It's kind of odd that they don't have Ed, but it kind of made sense that they didn't have Ed because Ed doesn't come until mid-season of the series. So I think that was a good incorporation of them, sticking to the core 3. And yeah, when it comes to just the callbacks of the episodes, there were certain episodes from the first half of the anime that they did not adapt, so they probably had a storyline for those characters or bounties later. The one thing that I was taken back by, and I'm not trying to sound crass about it, but they changed the woman from the first episode, that there was a fixation on her bust, and they got rid of that in the live action one. And the only thing is that takes me back about it was kind of like a visual aid for people to be distracted by it for the criminal acts that they were doing or smuggling, you know what I mean? So that kind of took me back because it was a lot of emphasis on that, but anime is anime, so it was nice that they were being conscious of not having a woman as an object. But I just felt in a narrative sense of the way, I think it was done well in the animated show, but it just made sense. But it kind of took me back that they didn't keep it. But as I said, it was adapted for live action, and I think it was a good transition, and I have no problem with the actors, and I think everybody did their part, and I just felt like the show was done well. I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Did you watch the live action Cowboy Bebop? Would you like a season 2 of Cowboy Bebop? All thoughts. Give me all the thoughts. I want all the thoughts. Helps with the algorithm. Yeah, just let me know. And I'm gonna bring this video to an end. And I want you to be you, do you, see the bigger picture. Have a fantastic day because you deserve it. This is that channel. Peace.